We have been discussing the note values in 4/4. 4/4 is the meter, and sometimes is called 4/4 time or a time signature. This can also be notated by a large C, which is called common time. 4/4 and the large C, or common time, are used interchangeably. Let's look at some other common meters. 2/2 means 2 beats in a measure with a half note getting a beat. One measure of 4/4 is equivalent to 2/2, except that the unit of pulse or beat in 2/2 is a half note, while in 4/4 is a quarter note. In both cases, 4 quarters will be in each measure, or 2 halves, or 1 whole, or 8/8, and so forth. 2/2 can also be notated with the large C that we just discussed, but with a line drawn through its center vertically. There are 2 other common meters with a 2-beat feeling. They are 2/4 and 2/8. In 2/4, a quarter note gets 1 beat, and in 2/8, an eighth note gets a beat. A march is usually notated in 2/4 time. Let's look and listen at the middle of the 3rd movement of Tchaikovsky's 4th Symphony. At the beginning of the movement, the string section plucking their strings, an effect called pizzicato, are playing all eighth notes. Let's look and listen to the bassoon playing a section in 2/4 from the Brahms Academic Festival Overture. In this excerpt, Brahms alternates between quarter notes and eighth notes. All of the meters that we have discussed so far are duple meters or duple time, with the beats all divisible by 2. Now let's discuss some triple meters with all the beats divisible by 3. The most common are 3/4, 3/8, 6/8, 9/8, and 12/8. 3/4 means 3 beats in a measure with a quarter note receiving 1 beat. If we look at the 2nd movement of the Shostakovich 5th Symphony, we see that it is in 3/4 or 3/4 time. This melody, played by the cellos and basses of the orchestra, is quite simple. The first measure, a quarter note, quarter rest, quarter note. Second measure, 3 quarters. The 3rd and 4th measures both have a quarter, 2/8, and a quarter. The 5th and 6th measures, all eighth notes. The 7th, quarter, 4/8. The 8th, quarter, 4/8. The 9th and 10th, 3 quarters each. Then the horns enter, in bar 11 and 12, playing a half note, 2/8, half note, 2/8. Now I would like us to listen to 3/4 meter that is a very different feeling. It is a work called Black Swan by the Chinese-American composer Bright Sheng. What Bright did was to take a beautiful work written for piano by Johannes Brahms, an intermezzo, and write it for the orchestra. This process is called orchestration. This piece is also in 3/4 time, but it is a much softer and slower work than the Shostakovich we just listened to. Notice how it begins with what we call an upbeat. In this work we have 2 eighth notes that precede the first full bar. These notes are called upbeats. A very common use of 3/4 is in the waltz. 3/4 In this example from Robert Schumann's Third Symphony's second movement, it almost sounds like a waltz. And note that it begins also with an upbeat, this time though just 1/8 note. Three-eight is like 3/4, except that the unit of beat in 3/8 is an eighth note, while in 3/4 it is a quarter note. Here is the second movement of the Beethoven Fifth Symphony. Notice that it is in 3/8, and again it begins with an upbeat, but this time it's a dotted 16th and a 32nd note. Three-two is a less often used time signature, and as we've learned, there are 3 beats in one measure, with a half note receiving 1 beat. Let's listen to part of the finale to Stravinsky's Firebird Ballet, which is in 3/2.